What's up, FlowChat Connector? Quick question for you. Do you know how old the sales process is? How many years ago was it invented? Comment below because this video is going to reveal it all. What's up, FlowChat Connector? Sean back at you with another high-ticket tune-up. Hope you're doing really well. Don't forget to smash that like button. Share this out to somebody who needs to learn more and get better at sales. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. Love for you to do that as well so you can keep getting daily tips. My goal in life is to help traditional salespeople not suck at sales any longer and actually become a sales professional and then eventually a sales ascender into a FlowChat Connector, right? So that's what we do here, and that's how we live it. But today's something a little different that I'm going to spin it for you guys. I want to talk about the history of sales, where it came from. So question is, do you know how old the sales process is? Comment below with your answer because I want to see who can get this right. I know the answer obviously because I study this stuff, but it's very interesting when, I think I love speaking with people who tell me like, oh, I'm doing this one thing. And it's like, why did you go into that one thing? Most people say it's because I want to make money or I want to do this or I want to feed my family or whatever the thing is. Not too many people take the time to go back in time and look at the origins of what happened. And so if you're familiar with sales, you're in the sales world, you're probably doing that because you're listening to me. Sales was invented a pretty long time ago. It was actually invented in the area over by Turkey and Greece. And I have some slides here that I wanted to share with you because I think these are valuable. So check this out. This is the history of the sales process. You're going to love this one. Let's dive right in. First and foremost, you got to know this. Number one, first there was the bartering system. Bartering system was, hey, I want a cow in exchange for my daughter, kind of a thing, right? So you exchange one thing for another. We all know the word bartering, probably you've heard it before, but it wasn't until Herodotus, an ancient Greek historian and geographer from the Greek city of Halicarnassus, which was part of the Persian Empire over there in Greece, came up with this idea of, oh my gosh, like this silver coin is extremely valuable. What if I gave you this silver coin and you gave me a cow? And that started what was the coin exchange. So because we had to have some sort of a medium to exchange for value that was perceived on both sides as valuable. And then this is what gave birth to the entire idea of a coin exchange for value, right? So Herodotus started this thing, but it wasn't adopted until a little bit later. There's these people called the Anatolian people. They're called the Lydians. That's the actual name of them. Again, here you can see in kind of that corner of where like Croatia is kind of now over there by Italy, Greece, that area. And these were Anatolian people living in Lydia, a western region in Anatolia, who spoke distinctive Lydian language. And what happened is the Greek people started migrating over in boats and trading stuff, and they brought with them these silver coins. And so they would go to these lands and they would say, hey, I love those spices and herbs and things. Would you take in exchange this little silver coin, which you can then, redeem if you ever come over to Greece? And that started the coin exchange. And what happened after the coin exchange started was the worldwide acceptance or adoptance, because as these people started to travel all out throughout Asia, into Russia, down into China, happened there first. And then eventually, as the Americas kind of caught on a little bit later, the coin exchange started. And then as we know, like we got it backed by gold and then taken off the gold standard back in the 70s. However, long story, that's kind of the history of how the coin exchange started. So we know it started with bartering, and then Herodotus said, well, hey, hold on, like silver is really valuable. Can I exchange this for that? And they said, yes. That was the introduction of coin exchange. And then it wasn't adopted till a few years later by the Lydians. Then they took on full blast, right? And this birthed the people that started to get good at doing this bartering for coins. And what came after that was sales, right? And so if you haven't answered yet, again, the question is, how long ago was the sales process actually invented? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know. But the truth, the answer, here it comes, is this. The first text to outline the steps in something called a selling process was published in a book by a guy named Norval Hawkins back in 1918. That means the first documented evidence of the sales process itself was about 104, 105 years ago. That's the right answer, right? So 100 plus years ago is when the sales process was invented. Look at the process he put in the book. If you look at this thing, you see prospecting, qualifying leads, pre-approach, right? Approach, need assessment, sales presentation, handle objections, closing, and follow-up. Now, if you think about all the other sales systems that you've ever seen, learned about, talked about, heard from, read a book in, it matches this almost exactly. This is why I always preach, like sales is a learned skill. If you know the process and you know the steps inside of each one of these processes, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get really good at following this type of system. And when you get really good at the system, you get repeatable results. Repeatable results lead to big time achievement and transformation, whether it be of you personally in your selling career, growing a business or company, or just doing, like communicating better. But it's insane to me to look at a sheet like this and to say way back over 100 years ago, the same system exists. And this is why I tell people, like, if you don't have a selling system that you're using day in and day out, you need to get one. Because if you don't have one, you're relying on the prospect system, which of course stands for 4 steps. They lie to you, they steal your information, they lie to you again, and then they go hide. That is the prospect selling system. So what I encourage you to do today is just take a second and understand that sales, the actual process itself, has not changed that much over 105 years, and it's not going to change moving forward any further. So if you're trying to grow your sales abilities, learn a process. This is an easy one to learn. We have a better one. It's called the Ascension Method, that's been distilled from 40 of the best selling systems ever. And if you want to know about that, come join our Facebook group and learn a little bit more. With that said, you've just been dosed with a little bit of history, and it's just incredible to me that something that was created 100 plus years ago is still relevant today. It's timeless, it's evergreen, and it will always be there for you to rely and depend on, and for you to grow your business. With that said, you've just been tuned up. Hopefully this one was valuable for you, and I'm really excited to see in the comments like what you guessed. Hopefully you got the right amount of years of how old the sales process actually is. With that said, I can't wait to see you next time. Have a great day.